Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Final Resolution review. Now, this pay-per-view is the last one for the entire year for TNA. Now the question is, did they do well for the entire year? Not just this pay-per-view. So I'm going to give my thoughts about that at the end. Now the first thing, and I'm going to put this in my title, Final Resolution. Damn! That seems like the best word to use. Look, when it comes between the WWE and TNA, you got an entire different type of animal between each. WWE right now is orientated towards kids and maybe teenagers. Very little is orientated toward the mature adult. They're giving their best shot at it in the last couple of years, particularly this year, particularly last couple of months, and they basically fall on their asses. But when it comes to TNA, no matter how you feel about their storylines where they may be trash and they're not doing that well with it, and it's annoying, it is way better than what we've been getting in WWE. So this pay-per-view was considered going to be very good. But since the TNA, and most of the time also the WWE, they care more about ratings than they do about the pay-per-view, their fillers are not always going to be very detailed, and it's going to be super duper exciting. And I believe a lot of people expected this to be great because not only is the end of the year, they've been doing pretty well in their storylines. This was not that great. That's the reason why I put damn in it. Farouk would be, if he was there, he'd be looking at everybody putting his hands on his shoulders, hands on his hips, and going, and everybody looking at him going, oh crap, he's going to say it. And he go, damn! And he had the right to say it. This was not a great pay-per-view, but it still led into the show. This is what it's going to come down to, ladies and gentlemen. This is another Impact, like the Off the Rope show said, as well as the British Fist. I've seen both of their videos, and I agree with them. I was hoping it wouldn't do this, but this isn't Bound for Glory. This isn't Lockdown. This isn't Genesis. This is not their biggest pay-per-view. It isn't. So the thing is that you're going to get pretty much a basic show that is like an Impact, just like WWE's 3 hour. That's what we got. So the beginning of the show, we got Storm coming out. He wanted to say that he was going to do something, and Kaz comes out afterward and says, just shut your damn mouth, you're a pain in the ass. And he says, well, you know what? I got nothing to do, neither do you. Let's have a little dance. Which they did. Short dance. Wasn't that great? From what I understand, that Storm may be injured, which is understandable. You don't want to hurt someone who's eventually going to go and face Rude eventually, if Rude gets the title or not, to finish their feud. You don't want to make it worse. So Storm wins it. If this was a basic Impact, I would say it was a bit mediocre. It wasn't really great, but it was leading somewhere, so I'll leave it at that. X Division is next, and that was on my original list. Now, did I believe that RVD was going to lose? No. I was hoping for a good match. The match in the beginning was not bad. It was okay. Both of them are very good. Both of them could have very good chemistry, but I don't believe they were really going into it that way. I believe this was just to keep RVD at least irrelevant enough that when Genesis comes around, we'll find something else. Or the next Impact. Because now that Kenny King's gone up against him, the only other person he has left that he has not gone up against is Kid Cash. At least on long distance types of feuds. He hasn't done anything with him. At least not in a long time or ever. So Kenny King looked good. I would have liked him to win, like I said in my prediction, but I didn't believe he was going to win because right now the belt is still not featured enough. So I'm going to leave it at that. Tag team, Chavo and Hernandez against the Big Man and the Big Slong. We got Matt Morgan and we got Joey Ryan. Morgan and Ryan were a good tag team. They're not great because this is the first time they did it, but they're at least good enough that they have enough chemistry they can do the job. No one won this. It was a DQ. Morgan pulls the ref out of the ring. The ref got sick of him, DQ'd it. Okay. Hopefully this will lead to something on the show, and it may lead into Genesis. I'm really hoping, and this is just for me, I don't know if anyone else is thinking this, probably they're not, because they understand how Hernandez works. Hernandez, to me, is a character who's the strong silent type, but really in this instance, I believe they need to add a little more depth into the character between him and between Matt Morgan. They used to be tag team partners. I really would like to see Hernandez, even if it's short, at least say he's going to kick the shit out of Matt Morgan. I want to see that. I don't want to see Chavo talk all the time. This is what happened in Mexican America, and I believe that was one of the reasons why Mexican America tanked, because Hernandez is not talking enough. Hernandez is a strong, silent type character, but it doesn't mean he can't talk. I've seen Hernandez talk a couple of times. He can talk pretty damn well. But the thing is that since they're packaging him like that, he is a double-edged sword. We really need him from time to time to talk. If it's like E.F. Hutton, when people hear them talk, they listen. So if you make Hernandez talk briefly, people are going to pay attention. They will. This is just me. So the next thing, which I was hoping much higher on the card, but was the best match of the night. Bully Ray versus Austin Aries. Very good. You got them both switched in positions. And you saw Bully Ray do some stuff that usually a big man in TNA does not do. You seen a missile drop kick done by a man over 350? Or at least 350? No. Not even the Abyss character did that. Matt Morgan doesn't do that. Not even Crimson did that. He was near 300 pounds. But Bully Ray pulled it off very well. The Bully Cutter throwing Austin Aries up and pulling it in there. I wish that in WWE, when it came to Randy Orton, he would go back to doing that permanently. What he did months ago, when he did his RKO, when he threw people up in the air, when he positioned them right and then came down with them, was perfectly well done. But he won't do it anymore because he's too damn lazy. But Bully Ray, not because he's a bigger man than Randy Orton, the thing is that he decided that he's going to make it look good no matter if it's a big guy or small guy. He can do the same thing as Randy Orton. Put him on his shoulder, lift him up lightly, and then throw him down. It looks much more better done. What I said in my predictions about Brooke Hogan coming out was true. Brooke Hogan came out in a short top, showing her boobies, which were very nice. Running to the ring after you got Bully Ray getting hurt, cut open in the head. Austin Aries pulls her in, scares the crap out of her. You got Hulk Hogan coming down while Bully Ray falls to the ring. Okay, I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't have a problem seeing any one of them there because it continues the storyline. We don't know where this is going to go. We don't know how far they're going to go with Bully Ray and Brooke Hogan. Or Mark. Nice that they did this. And this led very well into Bully Ray losing. Again, Bully Ray loses. Bully Ray looks distraught and pissed the crap off. Austin Aries raises his hand saying, I still am a winner. Okay. As long as it's leading somewhere, where it probably will lead into the next Impact. Mickie James versus Tara. With her boy toy, Jesse. The Slag Daddy said that, you know what, I'm beginning to get behind the guy. Maybe there must be something wrong with me. You know what? I thought of him as a third woman. But you know, right now I'm going to change my mind about him for the simple fact is this. He's still getting time on TV. We still don't know how long he's going to stick with Tara. Sooner or later they're going to break him off. So he has to be doing something. When you hear the Impact crowd, and I don't think there was much canned heat at all during the night. Canned heat was, if it was there, limited. Not very large. You could hear the same woman screaming in the background. So it's a good chance the canned heat was there. But you could hear a lot of boos for Jesse. So that could still be a good sign that he's beginning to get over as a heel. We're not asking him to be one hell of a great heel. We're just asking him beginning to get the beginnings of it. The match was standard. It wasn't really that great. With Jesse interfering a lot, it didn't give a lot of depth to the match. It was nice to see Tara getting a little bit of love, but you know what? In the end, with Mickie Jane losing, I would have liked to see the Velvet Sky come out. I know a lot of people are saying that it would have been better if Velvet did not come back, and I agree with them. I wanted Velvet to either come back now, which would have been a surprise, or come back in the next Impact, but they didn't show her. And that was sad. It didn't work that well. It would have been better for her to be seen or to interfere or to cause some type of friction between her and Mickie Jane. That would have been better, because if Velvet Sky is going directly after the title, she's got to go after someone first to earn the right to get it. And if they just give it to her, that's a really stupid thing to do. No one's going to be interested. Who wants to see Velvet Sky directly go after Tara? She's got to earn it. She's been gone for months. So either she's going to go after Gail Kim, or it's going to be Mickie Jane, or maybe Miss Tessmacher, who comes back. So if it's not one of them, if it's someone else, like I said in my Impact review, maybe someone else that Brooke Hogan was talking to other than Velvet Sky, hopefully there will be someone there. Maybe an Angelina Love is going to come back. I hope so. I haven't seen her in a long time. I miss her boobs. She wasn't an ugly girl. I liked her. Next, 4-on-4. The Everybody versus Aces and Eights. Angle, Joe, Bischoff, and Briscoe. This leads into the future, because it looks like Kurt Angle is still going to be going after Aces and Eights. I can say, if you're going to see any signs that something was going on, that might be hints of spies in the bunch. When Garrett Bischoff grabbed that hammer away from someone, he didn't even try to hit anybody with it. He just stood there in the middle of that, in that part of that ring, until Kurt Angle grabbed it from it and threw it away. That leads you to something. That makes you think. I know it's a very, very small little hint. I would have liked Wes Briscoe to do that. But since it was Garrett, if anyone didn't notice that, check it over again on your pay-per-view. Garrett managed to grab the hammer. He didn't hit anybody with it. He was looking at the guy from Aces and Eight with it. Why? Why was he looking at him and not trying to attack him with it? He was just standing in the middle, not in the middle of that ring, in that part of the ring, right behind Kurt Angle. That's a sign of something, hopefully. If it's nothing that leads to nothing, then it should never have been done. But if it's leading to something, that's okay. You need to throw hints down. You need to throw little taste of something. If you don't, people won't be interested. The really smart people who notice this, the smart marks, if they didn't notice this, they will. So I'll leave it at that. Oh, and Aces and Eights win. Oh, no, sorry. Kurt Angle's team win, like I said. It's still going to lead into something. Alright. One last match between Daniels and AJ Styles. I understand they said that they had been together 115 times. Now this leaves 116. You know these guys can do a good match. The match was a standard Styles and Daniels match. Doesn't mean it was bad. It doesn't mean it was good. We just seen it so many times. It's become irrelevant. I wasn't totally bored with it. They did some very nice spots. They did some very nice stuff. The whack they did near the end where AJ cracked his head open, either from the headbutt a few seconds before or when they both collided together and he started bleeding, was interesting. AJ trying to do the Styles Clash off the second rope, and then when Daniels turns into a powerbomb and you see the back of AJ's head hits the mat really hard and pretty much AJ loses, hopefully will lead into him dealing with Storm. Because why would you have conflict between him and Storm unless it's going to lead somewhere? So this Impact or the next one is going to lead directly into a feud with these two. I do not believe Rude is going to be starting with Storm right now. I don't believe it's even coming close. I don't believe these guys are even going to touch one another now. After seeing what happened in the main event, which is this. Hardy versus Rude. I heard what the British Fist said, and I believe what the Off the Rope show said. This was a mid-card type of match. NJ, Mr. NJ, I also agree with that. It felt mid-cardish at first because the crowd throughout the night was up and down for most of the matches. And I believe by near the end of the match, they were really split in cheering and booing, which was good. Hardy wins, which is alright. But at the end, when Rude saying, and I forgot to say this during my Impact review, I'm very sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that Rude paid off Aces and 8 to beat the crap out of Hardy. I'm sorry I forgot. But when you see this, that Rude gets his ass kicked, it now means that it's a possibility that Rude is going to do a face turn. This is my perception of it. I could be 100% wrong, and I probably am. But if Styles is going to have a fight with Storm because of now Styles losing to Daniels, then it would make sense that Rude is going to have something to do. So now he's going to focus on Aces and 8s. His intention is going to be there, and either he's going to team up with someone, or he eventually is going to turn slowly into a edgy face. That's how I feel about it. He's going to turn from heel to about an edgy face. Not face. I don't believe he will, because they still need to end the feud between him and Storm. So this is what I believe. And another thing I wish to say before I give my rating on this show is that they didn't do that many backstages. They didn't do that many pre-tapes for the people. But what I did see, and I checked the website for TNA, that they did all that stuff in a pre-show of 30 minutes. I would have liked that to have been put on the show. I say this right now, that at least they could have mentioned that it was on their pre-tape on their website or on their show. If anyone wants to know what's going on, the pre-show or the pre-tape on our website really shows how much these people were doing it. That's just for me. I'm probably wrong about saying this because it's better to have it in the show. Pre-tapes really give people a taste of what they're about to experience. But I can see why TNA did it, because unlike the WWE, they don't even say anything. They don't. A lot of times WWE, unless it's one of the more serious matches, won't say a damn thing. But when you go to the website and look at their pre-show or the pre-tape, which is about 30 minutes long, it shows as much information about almost all the matches as possible, except for the one with Kaz and with Storm. That was a surprise. But when it came to Mickie James, they had something there. When it came to Bully Ray and when it came to Austin Aries, it was at almost the beginning of the show, of that pre-tape on their website. Everything else after that, with Aces and 8s, with the one last match, all that was there. So I would have liked to see it in the show, but I actually kind of understand why they did it like this. This is giving you something a little different. If you choose to want to watch about them doing their show the way they want, makes sense. But I would have liked them to mention it, or I would have liked to see a little more, less of the pre-tape on the website and put a little bit, not much, maybe a few seconds, less than 5 seconds or 10 seconds about what's going on. At least a little more than what they were showing. So that's what I felt. The show, since it's a filler show and it was really leading into their television show, because that's where they get most of the revenue from what I understand. The revenue comes from cable. That's what keeps them alive, not the pay-per-views. I would say this is a C+ show, easily. It wasn't really that bad. Actually, I'll make it B- for the simple fact that a lot of things were done that's leading into the show, this coming Impact. I don't agree with them not doing this with their pay-per-views, unless it's one of their solid main pay-per-views, which Genesis is a solid one, so we'll probably see more there. So I'll give this a B- for the simple fact that they're leading into their show that's going to lead into Genesis. So I'll leave it at that. And I hope you like this review of Final Resolution 2012. Subscribe to ZANE'S View, please, and give me a comment to ZANE'S View. And this show was still way better than what we get in WWE. And I wish to say I'm sorry, I don't have the time to do all my reviews, especially when it comes to SmackDown. I just haven't had the time. When things get a lot more settled for me, I will go back to doing a SmackDown, a Raw, a TNA. That I will do when I have the chance. So I hope you like this, and give me a subscribe and comment, please. Thank you.